ask you what do you think and to tell you this is the right way of thinking and this is the wrong way of thinking. It's moral imposition. It's imposition. It's a new dogmatism. And it's very dangerous. This is the way the old populism started. They start with, we speak about principles, we end up speaking about thoughts. And in between, taking over emotions. So I think that this is a very serious matter. We are talking about this. And when you don't have this in one society, you have to understand that this is not the case for you, because you are not asked about this. You have to take advantage of this, the room that you have, to do the best, to promote a better understanding, a more sophisticated understanding of separating authority, distinguishing the authority. This is my faith. I do not impose anything to anyone. Everyone is free. No one has the right to impose onto me anything, and we abide by the law of the country. We abide, and this is because we accept the global and the outlines of the framework that we are going to be able to live together. If we are not accepting the rules, if we are not accepting the law, how are we going to live together? There is an acceptance here, and this acceptance is imperative. It's the authority of the law, the authority of the common legislation. And within this, we are free and we have our own authority for anything which has to do with our faith and anything which has to do with our personal belief. So this is something which is very important. Now, we accept these are three main principles. You may agree, you may disagree, but if you want to come back to this afterward, these are very important principles. I'm trying to clarify the picture. Where do we start the discussion? Why? Because if you go straight to the common ground, sometimes you can find afterward that we apparently agree, but we don't. There is a problem at the beginning. There is a problem at the beginning, and very often on exactly what I mentioned now. Is there a right way of thinking? And say, okay, I'm a practicing Muslim, I'm a practicing Jew, I'm a practicing Christian, and so what? Do I have a problem with the secular society? No. And this is something which is quite important. Let me just take one example about confusion. Even within the Muslim mind. And say, are you a secular Muslim? 99% of the Muslims say, I'm not. Who are practicing, say, I'm not. And you know that the great majority of the Muslims are not daily practicing Muslims, the great majority. But when you come to the practicing Muslim, say, a secular Muslim, they say, okay, why are you saying no? You know why? Because you have a problem with secular. You are confusing secular with atheist. Someone who is close to the ideology of it. But if you come to the very meaning of secular, meaning what? I abide by the law of the country. I accept the rule of the country. As long as this country is accepting the fact that I have my worship, my practice, and I decide for myself, what is the problem? So now we are not clear on the meaning of secular. And some people are saying, we want moderate secular Muslim. And at the end, when you keep on asking them, what do you mean by this? Two things, not practicing Muslim or ex-Muslims. Because we have a new kind of ex-Muslim now. What do you mean by this? What is? So let us come to this. Define secular before taking a position. Because if you tell me, yes, I abide by the law, I don't have a problem with the law, these are my law, the law of the country, I am a good citizen, and this is the way I understand it with my faith. So if this is to abide by the secular system, I don't have a problem to use this. But I define the word before coming to the discussion. And if secular means to be a lesser Muslim, less practicing, and just to show that how moderate I am by drinking alcohol, as we had some intellectuals say, oh, this one is a moderate Muslim, he drinks alcohol, so if this is it, I'm not going to follow. So tell me what you mean, and I will tell you where I stand. But some Muslims are not listening to the word, and they straight on project onto the word something which is their own historical problems they may have with the words. Or some politicians or some intellectuals are using these words. So when you come now to reconciling this two dimensions, faith and public life, with all these principles that we mentioned, let us now go a step forward. The first thing which is quite important here is my faith, my conviction, and it could be, by the way, something which is coming with my faith in God. As a Muslim, I believe in one God. There is something which the starting point for me is spirituality. Meaning, in fact, that in my private life, having said that there is one God means my life has a meaning. This is what I'm saying. So, the structure of the society could help me to understand how to live. My faith is telling me why I live. And the why will tell me how also. How I should be with the people. No one is coming with a personal, intimate conviction without trying to translate it into something which is public. Of course, the question is, do not impose. The question is respect. You may have your conviction, but the freedom that you have to have your own conviction means that you respect the convictions of the others. So the point here is your responsibility is to come to this, and then it has to do with a spiritual meaning. And very often when we speak about this, and very often with this, when we speak about faith in the public life, we are dismissing the point. We go straight to the problems. But this is not a problem. This is something which is essential. It's imperative. In our modern societies, your faith, or when you are a Muslim, or a Jew, or a Christian, or a Buddhist, or even an atheist, your faith in values, your faith in objectives, give meaning to your life. And you have the right and the freedom to be consistent with what you believe in. No one has the right to tell you you are pushed to be in contradiction with what you believe. So this is what we mean freedom by freedom of conscience and freedom of worship. You have the right. So this is why it's quite important. When, for example, today, as a European, I'm a European, I'm a Swiss citizen. And I'm in my society saying, you know what? My contribution with my faith, which is coming from my private life, to the collective life, to the public life, is to come back with the question, which is why? Why? The spiritual question. The philosophical question. I studied philosophy. I wrote on Nietzsche's philosophy, and I had to read all the philosophers on whom he was writing. And I understand that the best way for us, if we want to all together resist populism, simplistic ideas, is to reconcile ourselves with the deep question of why. And why it's coming from religions, it's coming from philosophy. And you ask and it's quite good when we are in computers, science and engineering, that's all fine. You are all working on how it works, but why? Good question. Welcome to the realm of philosophy. Welcome to the realm of religion. Because this is something that we should not translate religion into formalistic commitment to, 5 prayers a day. It's why. وَأَقِمِ الصَّلَاةَ لِذِكْرِ means you have to pray in order to remember me. It's a remembrance, it's a connection. In fact, it's what? Be careful. In a modern society, it's very quick for every one of us to become individualistic. And when we become individualistic, you have this individualism, the central question is the ego. And the ego, you are in jail or you are emancipated from your own ego. This is what all the religions are saying. Mind your ego. And 90% of my talks in the West are very often on problems, not on this, because this is not a problem, by the way. It's a common challenge. It's not a specific problem. Muslims are coming with one. You know what? I have a problem with my ego. You too. You get the point, which is really central here, is this discussion. So this connection here is quite clear. if my faith is telling me, reform your ego, it means